Hey, y'all, each week on The Sam Sanders Show from KCRW, we ask big questions and share hot takes about the pop culture we love.
Now that we have YouTube, we don't need any more biopics. If they've been alive such that I can watch them on YouTube, I don't need it.
I don't think that music is getting worse. I think y'all just don't listen to artists who aren't in the mainstream.
Taylor Swift, retire. It's time to retire.
The Sam Sanders Show from KCRW, wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube.
You're listening to Life in 7 Songs, where some of the world's most fascinating people share how they found their way and the songs that helped them through. From the San Francisco Standard, I'm Sophie Behrman. In this show, guests make a playlist or soundtrack of the most impactful moments of their lives. And for this week's guest, music has been his life. Joining us is Grammy Award-winning musician and producer D'Wayne Wiggins. He's the lead singer and guitarist for Toni, Toni. The group was super popular in the late 80s and 90s with 14 Billboard charting R&B singles, including 5 #1 hits like Anniversary and Feels Good. And they are still touring nearly 40 years later. Yet D'Wayne's biggest accomplishment may actually be the success he's helped others reach as a mentor. He's worked with superstars like Alicia Keys, Zendaya, Kehlani, and Beyoncé. D'Wayne, thanks so much for joining us.
Happy to be here, truly.
So now that I've introduced you, can you please introduce Toni? Where did the name Toni, Toni come from?
I came up with a nickname for a roommate of mine who came over to stay with me because his mom put him out and he was going to stay there for 2 weeks, and he ended up staying for 2 or 3 years.
As it goes.
But he was a dude, fly guy, whatever. He always had some of the finest chicks. I mean, and he'd come and act like he was part of the band. He'd have his bass. He never played it, but he'd have his bass, and he'd walk in with a girl and sit there for a while, rehearsing and act like he'd say, all right, I'm going to see y'all later, man. And, he'd go do his thing. So I envisioned Toni being this person who thinks he's so much and so fly. His first name is Toni, middle name Toni, last name Toni. That's where Toni came from.
Did you always know you'd be a musician?
I kind of, yeah. My dad played guitar, and he used to rehearse in the kitchen. So I used to experience a lot of that, jamming in the kitchen, him cooking and everything. And then I got the fever from this area in Oakland. I kind of knew that this is what I want to do.
What was Oakland like in the 60s, 70s?
Bands all over the place. We go outside, lift weights, go play basketball across the street at Royal Park. You see the bands jamming, a lot of boogaloo dance groups. I used to see the Black Panthers doing their rallies and stuff. At that age, I didn't know who the Black Panthers were. I just knew it was a group of cool guys across the street from our pad. And then the band that would be jamming, which was who would become Mr. Sly Stone later.
Is there a song that brings you back to those good times?
Hot Fun in the Summertime
by Sly and the Family Stone.
When you hear that piano intro, I remember the barbecues in the front yard, the cookouts. I remember us having dance battles and stuff. So I just remember it was straight community and everybody was one.
End of the spring and here she comes back. High, 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 high there. Them summer days, those summer days.
Da 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 da, da 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 da. You can hear those influences in Toni's music all ass day.
So when did you first pick up a guitar?
I had to stay 11 years old. There was a gentleman they used to call Big D'Wayne.
You were little D'Wayne.
Yeah, I was little.
Who was he to you? I mean, your first mentor of a
sort? He was my Jimi Hendrix. He wasn't left-handed like Jimi Hendrix, but he put his guitar upside down. And he played every note just like Jimi Hendrix. Ooh. And the one song he showed me was Hey Joe. That right there, when I learned that was it. That's what turned the light on.
Where you going with that gun of yours?
That's one of the songs I played in the first talent show I was in, and I got booed. And
why are people booing? How come?
Because they were waiting for the boogaloo dancers and all that stuff. They'd come out with their outfits on and the big hats and everything like that. But to me, all I knew was I learned that do down, do down, down. So I don't care how much you boo. To me, I was winning.
Were you nervous?
I'm sure I was nervous because it was our first talent show, but growing up in Oakland, you get confidence. You really got a chance to find out who you are. You were challenged almost every day.
I think I read or heard you say somewhere that the guitar was like a shield.
It definitely was, because it distracted me from a lot of things that some of the people that I grew up with are not here today. Places I would have been that maybe they were, I wasn't there because I was trying to be in a talent show or this, that, and the other. In talent shows back then, you couldn't just show up a day and just be coming on stage. It was like 3 months prep. So after school, you had to show up on time, sign up. So you had to have order.
Wow.
And
so
I was at
diligence.
the age of 13, yeah.
Incredible.
But it's teamwork when you're on that stage, and you got to look at it from that angle. You know what I mean? You got to learn where to fit in. It's like you're playing basketball. You learn your position, pass it, I'm going to slam it, whatever else, take the outside shot or whatever. But we had our own little corny Oakland style. We always were about matching and being over the top. We had black patent leather shoes, red satin suit. I was influenced when I saw the Brothers Johnson on that album cover with the yellow satin outfits, 2 brothers. So you couldn't tell me nothing. That was me and Raphael in my mind.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we were aiming at.
What about
and that
their
album
music?
was crazy.
Yeah. Any song in particular?
Well, Strawberry Letter 23 all day. All right. That.
A present from you. Strawberry letter 22. The music plays are set in for a few.
I also have to say for all of our listeners who can't see you, but every time I play the music, we've got some excellent air guitar, air bass, saxophone going
I'm
on
looking
here.
at that guitar on the wall, like, I don't want to throw us off, but I'm used to having one of those in my hand. That's all I want to say. But yeah.
So how does Toni even begin? Tell me that story.
Well, first of all, my other father, I got like 3 fathers, but this one he worked at an antique dealer shop called Harvey Clark's in Oakland. And as a kid, he used to take me, and I used to work the auctions, rugs that looked like they were raggedy as hell, that were expensive as hell. But he had a house where he kept things. So we would rehearse there. My brother Raphael and then Tim used to come over once they got out of high school, and that's where Toni as a 3-man unit came, because we sit there and watch MTV and Soul Beat, and we just jam in front of it all day. And it was just me with hella guitar pedals, bass, and all this. To this day, I tell people, don't take these fun things you do in life for granted, because they turn into things. But it turned into something, because the 3 of us, we were like the Black Police. It was funky. It was we didn't sing much, but we'd have cool hooks. But we would just jam hard for hella long. We didn't know how to write songs. We didn't know song structure. We just knew we were about to jam. And that's where Toni came from, his original sound.
Okay, we talked a little bit about finding your sound. Is there a particular song that speaks to you?
I think it was Imagination.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah. First of all, I hear the different changes it goes through. And then what I really love about it is the ride out. And Philip Bailey just takes it away, and with his high falsetto. So we used to listen to that, how they took a song and it started real mellow. You listen to the end of that song, and he's singing, he's screaming, and it's just, yeah, it's out of here. Look at Al Green. Al Green, when he sings, you think Al Green went to vocal lessons to sing like that? Hell no, it's him. You think James Brown went to vocal? No, it's him. And so your own distinct sound and personality is what makes you.
That makes me think of The Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about The Jam.
Stop playing.
And Larry Graham.
So everybody in the hood really listened to him intensely. In fact, we used to park and listen to him rehearse out in front. I know he thought we were stalkers, but we'd be on the front and they'd be in the garage. And that's what it was like to grow up around an area where you see, like I said, you saw Sly, but you damn sure would see Graham. And the one thing that changed my life is at Castlemont High, when a lunch break right in the courtyard, my band, at this time, now we're Alpha Omega. We're up there jamming. We were pretty popular. We had our horn section and stuff. And I looked, and here comes the principal with Larry Graham and Graham Central Station. And I'll never forget David Vega, the guitar player. He's like, can I play your guitar, son? I was like, yeah. I had a black Les Paul. And they took our instruments. When they finished playing our instruments, I looked at my guitar like, damn, you could sound like that. That was it. And so that made me understand a lot too then. Find your own tone. And so if you listen to my guitar licks as opposed to whoever may play with us, whatever, I got my own tone and style. And you find you do you.
You do you.
Yes.
Let's listen to The Jam by Graham Central Station.
When they first come in, when they hold that note, oh, come on, it's on. So that's like a course. You get into the strings that he has on the roto sounds and all bit. Roto sounds is a certain string. And the instrument he played, the weapon he chose was a Fender Jazz. You had to have those combinations to get the true, authentic flavor of Larry. And we knew that. Just everybody from my era, we know how to play like Larry. Not just, it sounds like Larry. No, we know how to sound like Larry. You know what I mean? It's different.
So you started Toni with your brother. What is it like being in a band with a sibling?
It's the blessing and the curse. Sometimes it's a good thing because we're one. We're calling plays out in our head. Even though we don't speak about it, me and him know. Because there's certain things we've done in talent shows and all of that. And he'll walk by me and just say, remember that thing we did, such and such. And nobody else knows but me and him. So it's crazy because I could be doing over here and he's on the right-hand side and I could be doing something better and we already know the pause. Blam. And people will be looking like, we didn't even rehearse that. No, we lived this. It's not a rehearsal. You're living right now.
Just an unspoken.
Yeah, language. There's things that we grew up in and we can reflect back on. And that is the best thing. It's nothing like being on the stage with family.
What about the curse part?
The curse part is you got to deal with everybody. We got our own personalities. And then you have to, you got to let things go because then you have to go back to it's business. It's business. It's business. It's not personal. But then you be thinking about, that's what mother said this about you in your head. And we grow now. So, but it's good. So
what has it been like to tour for 37, maybe 40, depending how you count years?
Heaven. I have to be on the stage. I get real tense when I'm at home too long. So if you see me around town too much, it's a problem. I had got so used to traveling to where I made my room look like a hotel.
Your room at home?
Oh, yeah. I used to have my room because, I just like that feel.
Speaking about traveling and touring, you mentioned on your list one song in particular that wherever you went, people knew. What was that?
Be Thankful for What You Got.
By William DeVaughn.
Yeah, when I was in the club, I think we were playing over in Japan at a club, and I kid you not, it was small as hell, maybe capacity of 250. They knew it. They knew that hook. Diamond in the back, sun rooftop, digging the scene with the gangster lean. Woo-hoo.
Though you may not drive a great big Cadillac.
I love this song and that you chose it because you're playing it at 14, 15, and you've been playing it for 50 years.
And to this day,
around the world.
I've played it at funerals, because it's uplifting.
It's time for a quick break. When we come back, D'Wayne remembers how a phone call from Beyoncé's father changed his life and the future superstar's life. Stay with us. Hey everyone, I want to recommend a podcast. Hard Knocks is a show about resilience, self-discovery, and finding meaning after chaos, hosted by Amanda Knox. Each week, Amanda sits down with fascinating guests, writers, thinkers, artists, to explore how we learn, grow, and rebuild ourselves after life knocks us down. Amanda brings humor, honesty, and hard-earned perspective to every conversation, drawing on her own experience of being wrongfully convicted and rebuilding her life. Amanda was a guest on Life in 7 Songs in one of our most moving episodes, opening up about how music became a lifeline during her years of wrongful imprisonment. On our show, she spoke candidly about turning pain into wisdom and also about how we're all so much more than our worst moments. If you liked that episode, you'll love her show, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jesse Alejandro Cottrell.
And I'm Emily Dreyfus, and this is Pacific Standard Time.
We have stories from all over the state of California, all the big battles that are happening here.
Prop 50,
housing affordability,
tech,
and immigration.
And we're really excited to bring you the stories about how California is dealing with what it means to be alive in 2025.
Subscribe to Pacific Standard Time, a new weekly show from the San Francisco Standard.
We'll have new episodes every Wednesday starting November 19th, wherever you get your podcasts.
So at some point, you become a father. You have 3 kids. How does one parent on the road?
They parented me. Well, fair. How I did, I've learned, fortunately, when I signed Destiny's Child, they were 13 and 14 years old. And my first child was a girl. And I learned a lot by dealing with them, how it just made me focus a lot more on changing my ways about certain things. Because I was like, oh, daughter, she can't see this. I can't get out like that. Certain things I have to, people see you out. You got to be on your toes all the time. I'm not saying I still was me, but I made sure I monitored things a lot better. And I always believed in exposure is key. Education was tops, but you got to learn how to apply that education. So whenever I traveled, call it a vacation, whatever, I always took my kids. So she got a lot of getting around and seeing things to see what they are. So, seeing Beyoncé, the hard work they put in on doing one song, seeing Kelly, seeing LaToya, all of them, seeing the girls as a group together, seeing them having to deal with each other's personalities and all of that.
So just to place us in time, this is 1995?
This is 1995, yes.
You get a call from Beyonce's father.
Father, yeah.
He says...
I met her before when she was 9 years old.
Okay.
She was with this group they called the Girls Time or whatever else. She said, I sing. I'm like, sing something. And she was a little more shy. She didn't really sing anything, whatever. But so it was years later, and I had done a lot of major deals with groups, developing groups with Sony, with Motown. I get a call from Matthew Knowles. Hey, D'Wayne, this is Matthew Knowles. I was like, hey. He said, I'm Beyonce's dad. I was like, oh, okay, hi. We're interested in doing business with you. And I was just like, okay, well, what do they sound like? He said, what do they sing? I said, well, let me hear, because I remember Girls Time was like 6 people dancing in the whole bit. And so he sent me a cassette, and I put it in, and I played it, and I was like, this ain't no damn 13 and 14-year-old kids. I ain't stupid. So I called him back. I was like, okay, good, Matthew, but who's singing? He said, it's the girls. So, they were really that dope.
Sounded that mature.
Right.
Just did not.
So he said, I'm going to send you. He sent me a VHS tape, and I put it in my, and that thing came up, and I was like, whoa. Like I said, they were 13 and 14, and I learned structure, extreme structure, from producing them. It's different. The kids, certain things you can't do in the studio. The court's got to approve of your contract that you're issuing to these kids. I moved them to Oakland almost for 2 years and put them in a 6-bedroom house. I had to furnish the whole place, and they had to be on top of their education. So I had to hire tutors. And I said, look at, their grades and how things were going. Beyonce kind of slacking up on her Spanish, and, she wasn't taking it that serious. And I remember a conversation I had with her. I was like, hey, you better get in on that, because let me just tell you, when you go to other countries, if you do a song in Spanish, and it's a whole nother turn up. So just being able to drop that jewel on someone like that, it showed me how to be a leader from behind.
It's the full package. It's not,
package.
especially for 13-year-olds.
Yes.
It's music, it's education.
Then,
and how old are you at this point?
I was roughly 28.
That's so
29.
young. It's a huge, huge thing.
Yeah.
To then have 4 girls, right? It's foreign income in a house.
Yep.
You're educating them. You're working with them on music every day.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. It means a lot to me because, first of all, that's trust. I was like, damn, Matthew, you hella trusted me with it. He's like, I just saw you had certain morals about yourself and ways of dealing with things, and you kept family around. And I was like, yeah, because that's the way I grew up with Southern ways. And I respected that. I respected him tremendously, and his wife, everybody, just for believing in me and trusting in me. It was a great experience.
D'Wayne, you brought a list of songs that have influenced you, but I was hoping for one of your 7, we could talk about a piece of music that you made that has had quite the impact. Around the time that you were mentoring Destiny's Child, you put out some solo work, in particular a song called What's Really Going On, Strange Fruit. I'd love to hear the story behind that one.
That song came about, and I have to describe how it all worked. I was working with India Irie. We were working on the song, I'm not the kind of girl in the video, and I don't, whatever else. And so I took a break, and I went to a club it's Oakland, but it's a little borderline of Berkeley, poetry spot. I was always, going to the poetry spots, and I was happened to drive up, and at this time I had big dreads in this old vintage station wagon Mercedes type, and I'm sitting in the car with a friend of mine, and I'm drinking some water, whatever. And I see the action, the police zooming down the street, whatever else. And I'm like, it's Oakland. I know what's up. So all of a sudden, I see the lights on my car behind me. And I'm looking in my rear view like, oh, well, at least I'm registered and whatever. He's probably running my place to find out everything is good. All of a sudden, my door just opens and a police officer just rushes in and starts choking me. And I threw the water down. He's like, spit it out, spit it out. And I'm like, we're back and forth going like this. And I'm like, fuck out what? I mean, this went on for, I think, maybe about 50 seconds or so. And then another police officer came up and said, oh, no, he's such and such. So with the officer, when he realized, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were doing drugs. I don't do drugs. First of all, I was like, what kind of freaking drugs is in water? Now, what's going on? So at this time, I'm 40-something. You know what I mean? So when that happened, I am not going to say I wasn't tripping off of it, but when I went back to the studio, India was in there. I was like, hey, let me fuck around on the mic for a moment. And I went in and I started just doing that because I was like, man, this is like that, some strange fruit stuff. You know what I mean? This is modern day hanging and lynching right here. You just can't open the door and start choking on somebody. And I kind of described my story. Nothing like Billie Holiday's. But I took that influence and I did that concept of strange fruit. But I just said what my lyrics were. Me and my amigo, we went to a comedy show to have a little fun with friends. Ran into this lady who I hadn't seen since we chopped it up and made big plans.
That's when I found out certain trees bear strange fruit. Blood on the leaves, blood on the roots. Society bears no truth. Tell me what's really going.
And I was trying to just do something local to bring attention to this foulness that's popping. Next thing I know, I'm on a promo tour with Reverend Al Sharpton and all these people. And I'm sitting in the room with big rappers from East Coast. And I'm like, is that big? And that's when I found out about these police officers that were called the rioters in Oakland. And they had been doing some things. And then that whole crew was exposed. And I was like, damn, I could have got taken out because they were already doing it. But that's what happens.
So that song, just so I'm understanding, helped expose a police group in Oakland was doing
foul things.
Foul things.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could have just easily been taken out. You know what I mean? I didn't know. But I was different. I was able to go hire the biggest attorney, and I was able to carve out and have a message. So that's how that song, Strange Fruit, ended up making a change for the community.
It's such an important song that you made that continues to speak to the moment all these years later. So we talked about Destiny's Child, but you have mentored a lot of artists. Alicia Keys,
I don't know if they would say I was mentoring, but I know I was because it's just a natural thing with it. And I think that I had an inspiration on Alicia, but I was inspired by her. I was like, this little young chick is dope. And she's so bold and got a heart.
It goes both ways.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it has to go both ways. You know, I learned, we're learning from the youth. All we can show them is morals and having respect and things of that nature and, be passionate. But other than that, they're showing you what the new phase is, and you just have to pay attention. Yeah. You
have traveled the world, but you also keep coming back to Oakland. And not just but investing in it. You ended up opening Toni's School of Music.
Yes, I did. TSM.
Tell me about that. Where it is particularly. I think you bought a warehouse that has
I had a warehouse off of 85th across the street from Tassafaranga where I did my first talent show, strange enough. And I had just moved back from LA, and that was in like 2013. First thing I thought about is, okay, what I've been doing with the kids, I'm about to supersize it to death. So this school was a 6-week summer camp that I gave, and there's only 20 kids. That's all I could work with. And basically the instructors and the teachers that I used to have come to my house and show my son piano and violin or bass, whatever, I started having those teachers who charged like about $50 an hour. I just had a schedule where it was 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, and those teachers would show up. And I just told them the difference is you're going to have 5 people at one time. Mm-hmm. And that was the difference.
That's how you started the school. And I can see a huge smile on your face talking about it. D'Wayne, what are you most proud of? You've had an incredible career.
That I'm still living and I'm still have a passion for this business. I love traveling. I love meeting people. I'm just very grateful that I could follow my passion and live my life. You know, I love it. I truly love this.
D'Wayne Wiggins, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, Sophie.
Life in 7 Songs is a production from the San Francisco Standard. This episode was produced by me, Sophie Behrman, and our senior producer, Jasmine Morris. Our executive producers are Griffin Gaffney and John Steinberg. Nate Toby is our creative consultant. This episode was mixed by Michelle Lanz. Booking help from Megan Mitchell. Our theme music is by Kate Davis and Zubin Hensler. And Clark Miller created our show art. Our music consultant is Sarah Tempexian. You can find this guest's full playlist at sf.news/Spotify. I'm Sophie Behrman. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.